This is in the old office. Grandpa at the desk. And the same old cabinets that were there all their life. Okay, workers going into work. Some of these shots are taken in the 30s. The Depression was actually a good time for the business. I think there's Otis Pertee. Sander. Or Edger or whatever. There's a sanding. I think at one time we had as many as 130 employees there. Putting on the turner. Some of these are a little dark. It's not the best lighting, but the fellow in Massachusetts was surprised at the quality of the films, given some of them were as old as they were. Otho Ashman was in that one. Notice how they parked the cars all up and down the street. One of the prides was to prove that this incubator would work no matter the weather around it and the environment. So they moved the incubator outside. Snow, let's just backtrack a bit. Okay, now we got a lot of the staff. All the girls that worked in the office. There's me in Dad's arms. There's Helen Miller, Abe's wife. Eventually, it wasn't then, I think. She was Helen Swinger there. Grandma's going over to the factory for something. Show too well in here. Ruth Carroll in her young days. Hatching trays down below. Grandpa and Dad started the business in 1922. Factory was built in 27, 28. Now here's where we're moving that incubator out. This was there was a railroad siding track so that cars would come up right along the loading dock of the factory. But this was set out there, and they were running kind of an experiment to prove that it would work outdoors, even though it was so cold. That's A. Miller and it's a little number 4 incubator. There goes a railroad train. Back when there were trains on that track. That was the Pennsylvania line that came from Bradford. The one out north on the way to the church here was the New York Central. Chicks are hatching. You can see the shells in there too. We remember that truck with that big chicken hatching with 13 eggs by a Petersime incubator. Now hatched with 40,000 eggs. I don't remember. That's Lloyd Miller. What we call brood units, some places they called them battery brooders, but they're electrically heated. Grandpa got involved in a lot of projects. One of them was the tamburizza, which is an Eastern European stringed instrument, sort of like a banjo, and they had their own show on the radio. In recent years, there's been a group out of Duquesne University in Pennsylvania that has a tamburizza group. They were making them at the factory. That's some of the inlay. We also had a bakery. We had a pop business for a while. It was called Pete's Peppy Pop. This is part of the bakery ovens. They made bread a little differently then than we do now. That was in the factory. The back end. First floor. There was a picture of Ruth Carroll when she was young with a little basket on the loaf cover or the wrapper. Bread's done now. They also apparently made pies because we saw part of a movie on that, or there was a section on that too. It's before the days of sliced bread. Notice this one. I'm not sure it was the latest invention, but anyway. Want a treadmill? It was Grandpa. And this is Marion Winger. She was Marion Winger. Marion Hubbard. Then she was Fern Wenrick's sister, Marion Wenrick, at the time she worked there. And then we have Marvin. He also had steam bath cabinets. Did a lot of experimenting with some other foods, turkey, artichokes, parched corn.